Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California joins me now. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Congressman, you attended the speech, and after you wrote in part, quote, "We must approach negotiations with Iran with our eyes wide open. At the same time, we must consider the consequences of a failure to reach an agreement and whether there is a plausible alternative to military action." Did Netanyahu say anything to address your concerns?
He didn't say very much, Carol. Look, I think the Prime Minister did lay out legitimate concerns that many Israelis have, that many Americans have. But what I was really eager to hear is, what is the alternative? If this falls through, if we go ahead and impose new sanctions, which we will, what is the likelihood that that brings Iran back to the table? And what is the likelihood that, in contrast, it just causes Iran to spin up those centrifuges, go back to 20% or more highly enriched uranium, and then we merely get into a discussion about where Israel's red line is and where our red line is. So I would have liked to have heard a lot more on that point.
And when you talk about red line, are you talking about possible military action against Iran? Could that actually happen?
Well, it certainly could happen, and this is where I think the Prime Minister's speech fell short, and that is, let's say we do impose these sanctions, and let's say that we are able to keep the international coalition together, and that second part will be difficult, but let's say we can do that. What is the timetable that would allow these new sanctions to go into effect to pressure Iran, and what is the timetable for their newly enhanced enrichment program, which is exactly what's going to happen if this falls through? And I'm not sure there's enough time before they get to the point where Israel believes they're too close to the bomb for those new sanctions to work. And that's one of the hard choices we're going to face, and one of the reasons why it's not enough, in my view, to say I don't like this or I don't like that. You have to provide a plausible alternative.
Mr. Netanyahu also said Israel is well capable of taking care of itself. So let's say Israel did take military action against Iran. At this point in the relationship between Israel and the United States, would the U.S. Congress fully support Israel if it took military action against Iran?
Well, the Congress support for Israel, it remains very strong. But a lot will depend on whether the members of Congress feel that we gave negotiations a chance to succeed. The American people in particular are very wary to go back to war, particularly if they think there was a viable alternative to that. And in this respect, it's very dangerous to have this kind of a rift between the Prime Minister and the White House, because while the Prime Minister doesn't like this agreement and doesn't feel he needs the President right now, if there is no agreement, the Prime Minister is going to need the President more than ever. Because my suspicion is if there's no agreement, those centrifuges are going to spin up with even greater alacrity. The Iranians are going to bring out a new generation of centrifuges. And in that context, Israel is going to be more dependent than ever on the United States. So yes, Israel can act on its own. It has the military power to do that. That will set back the Iranian program for a time. But the U.S. will need America more than ever in that context. And so this friction, I think, is very ill-suited to the important relationship between our countries.
Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California, thanks so much for your insight. I appreciate it.